This is a special event, man. A special moving forward show. We got TEEAHRAH. We got RICHARDINE Bar Team. We got LAMBOSHOW. We got Duce Show. And we got Ted from True Entertainment in the building.
The hate is real with this Duce though. But we'll be alright.
The cup is empty.
It's cool. It's still my cup.
They got your name.
Thank you, yeah.
You're welcome.
Shit, I'm mad. I need a flow cup. I need a fucking flow cup.
Yeah. Alright, let me put it down.
So, Ted,
No, because he feels salty. You see?
No, he's saying that because last week when I had the shirt, I had one shirt. Now he got me back with the cup. What's up, T?
What's going on?
Let everybody know what you do, why you came.
Well, I'm here. I appreciate y'all for welcoming me. Meeting some cool people. Thank you. I'm here to learn, see what we're going to talk about today and how I can contribute.
All right.
Oh, let's talk about the industry. Let's get right to it.
Yeah.
First, I want to tell you, I almost thought you was Kelly Rowland in the spot.
Oh,
I
it's a
said,
compliment. I
Kelly
love
Rowland. I
her.
said, Kelly Rowland in the
I
building.
follow her Instagram. She's
Shit.
great. She's nice.
Every week I Don't do that. Last episode I had with China Marie, shout out China Marie, he said I had my Barry White on. He said, yo, that wasn't even your voice. I was like, yo.
So spoken.
Kelly Rowland.
Nah, because it was Kelly Rowland. Yo. I was like, yo, that's Kelly Rowland. I said Kelly Rowland in
I
here?
called you. I'm like, yo, is this nigga?
It's, all right, the interview with China Marie. She's a dope artist. And the tone I was talking it wasn't like.
Wait, hold on. You was there.
Yo, it's a different, like, if me and you were talking, I'm not going to be talking like how I'm talking to like the cool. I'm going to be talking to you like the woman. Like,
Tell a story. Come on.
Listen, let me tell you something. I don't really watch our shows like that. This one, it was like 2:30 in the morning when I called you. Is this nigga?
What I love?
Sultry and sexy.
Yo, the nigga was all suited at the table. He was like, so you know.
Well, you had on a suit.
He was dressed.
You came correct. He was ready. Okay.
So he was like, so you know your music. You be on the cars and I tell us about it.
With the bedroom lights and everything. Tell us about it.
Yo, tell us about why you like being on cars and I'm like, this nigga is. Yeah. She did not pick up.
Yo, what's good, T? What's going on?
Right out of that.
Let us know what you do. And you're in the industry, right?
I'm in the industry.
All right.
Right now, I'm just freelance consulting, working with Rich here.
Freelancing is not free. I heard that last week.
It's not, but sometimes you got to pay your dues. You know, and that's how you learn things. Sometimes you have to be able to manage up and be managed. And if you can't allow people to manage you, you won't learn. You just got to always be growing, always learning. And right now I'm learning from my girl Rich here.
RICHARDINE.
She just got a nice little partnership at the Delancey.
Yes. That's why T is here also. She wants me to mentor her. So I just...
Thank you.
Breaking news. That was breaking news.
True Entertainment, man.
Breaking news.
You got a LAMBOSHOW here. We gonna do a lot, man.
This is dope, man. This is dope. So, what you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? And before you answer that, you just ain't drop it to the industry. Like, let's talk about it. You a little shy, baby.
Excuse me?
You shy.
See what I'm saying? See the tone?
But I'm here. Like he's trying to get into me. Like you shy. Your voice got high. Well, I want to tell you why I'm here. So right now I have the opportunity to work with an artist named King Shooter, who's actually from Queensbridge. And so I'm just kind of working with him. He's a new up and coming artist. He's done some work with ABs, and he's actually shooting tonight and doing some little project with Black Ink. So that's really good for him. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but we ended up having some technical difficulties with him here, and that's why we're here. Shooter brought us here, technical difficulties brought us here, and Rich kind of like brought everyone together.
That's right.
And that's what we're here to talk about the industry. And going back to where I'm from Ohio, home of LeBron James. Shout out Akron. So, you say daddy?
Not just LeBron James. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That's Cleveland. I'm from Akron.
Oh, you from Akron?
Yeah, I'm from
Oh, you from
home of LeBron
Oh,
James.
shit. You went to the school that he goes?
No, I have not, but my brother is a part of the school and the foundation. He was actually the face of, he actually has a toy. He's on the face of the LeBron James hoop. So,
Dope.
yeah, he kind of came into the foundation that way.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to your brother. What's his name?
Yes, his name is Jamil Wright.
Jamil
So
Wright.
there is.
Shout out
You know what I just
Jamil.
found out about him? Jamil is also a caddy.
What?
He's caddying on a golf course. I just thought that was the coolest thing.
Oh, he did drive
He
that
told
chick
my
was
dad he
driving
couldn't
the
hang
car.
out with him this weekend because he was going to be able to make $300. And he was
That
like,
check is lit.
I
Yeah,
said,
that
caddy.
check is popping.
We came a long way, so here we are.
That's dope, man. I definitely appreciate you here for coming.
I appreciate you for having me.
So, what made you want to get into like the managing business? Who did you manage before shooting?
I have not managed anyone. I actually managed employees. So I got my start here in New York, worked at Google on the real estate team, worked there for about 2.5 years. And then I ended up, I didn't get a position there that I wanted. I was going from state, and so I landed at Mass Appeal. And then they wanted to call me and give me an interview for the position that I originally went for. And I was
You
like,
dubbed it.
I'm already gone. Like, I can't go back. I already jumped into this whole new thing. I'm
You
starting
said
to see
Massacre,
things.
huh?
Here you
I
go.
love Nas.
I didn't say Mass Appeal. I didn't say anything
Yeah, you
about
did
Nas.
say it.
I did not.
You
So
said
I said I was
Massacre.
at Google.
No, then you said
So-
you went to Massacre.
Well, okay, well, we're at Mass Appeal. He just want to get into
She like,
it.
she like,
Yes,
don't
you
crisscross
just
my
go right
messages.
into it.
She like, don't crisscross my
You just
messages.
roar. Like, people can't even warm up to it.
He said that too.
Miss.
He said that too. He said that about me too. I go straight into the.
Yeah, just
That's
gotta,
just me.
you know, you gotta switch it up.
I don't.
Am I right? You kind of gotta ease into it. It's like what you said. Let's get into it. You're trying to Wendy Williams me.
No, don't do that. I'm not trying to win you.
Yeah, you are.
What the
Like,
fuck is a Wendy Williams?
it's like you're just pow. You're like just raw. You're here. We're all here.
Listen, we
go
only
in
got
there.
10 minutes left. You gotta get this thing done.
That's what you started in the bedroom? Ooh. Is that what they
Yo, show this episode is then coming out. Don't put this up. Don't put this up.
Right.
This is a good open table.
It's a great. So how was it?
How was what?
Did you meet?
Did I meet who? Come on, now talk to me.
Like, did you meet like Nas?
I did. I had the opportunity. I shot a show with Nas actually, and he was real cool about it. We had some fun with his brother Jungle. Always shout out to Jungle.
Yeah,
Mad
shout out to
respect, like,
Jungle.
always my brother. I freaking love that guy. Super cool ass dude.
Jungle.
Jungle.
Jungle is a dude, man.
He is. That's Uchi Wally right there.
Uchi Wally and One Mic.
Yeah, and that's what we found out in Rapture, which is on Netflix.
Right, that's why I was about when Shooter would have came, I was gonna tell him like, yo, dude, tell Jungle to throw you one of them things. He got him.
We got him.
He got him.
He's got it, and I had the pleasure of working with Jungle. We actually had our own show at one point in time, and we talked about these things. And he's a character. I mean, he's fun. He's energy rich.
Yes.
Opportunities with Jungle. He's just all over the place, and he's funny and he's smart. And I think people don't do him enough credit sometimes.
Quiet.
I agree.
That's what you got when you hung with Jungle. Like that's the whole.
Oh, he's a genius. He's a
Genius?
visionary. Yeah,
Oh,
he is.
that's
And
dope.
everything that he's saying is accurate and legit.
And genuine.
Yeah.
Like, he means every bit of it.
That's dope. I met him a long time ago.
Where'd you meet him?
In Queensbridge.
In Queensbridge?
QB. That's one of the biggest
No,
projects in the world.
going through there a little bit.
That's the biggest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's 96 buildings or something
Yeah.
like that.
Listen, we
Biggest
for that
project.
Nas listening party.
Oh
with
my
fucking Kim
gosh,
Kardashian.
it was crazy.
That shit
Kim
was
Kardashian
insane.
came there?
Kim
Yeah,
Kardashian.
she
And Lala was on top of a car.
Wow. It was cool. 2 Chainz, Waka Flocka was there.
Wow.
That was really cool.
You know,
People. That was fun.
that's.
Yara Shahidi, her mother.
Yeah.
Who?
Chris Rock was there. Yara Shahidi.
Everybody but us. We was the only ones.
I didn't know y'all yet.
Everybody was there but us, basically. Everybody in the world was there but us.
Oh, God.
Listen, man. I don't. You know, I always like Jungle. I really didn't like Nas a little bit because I was a J fan.
Oh.
This nigga got a Deuce cup. That's why he was had the
To
Deuce
the
cup.
heart.
Let's bring the Deuce
To the
cup.
heart.
He got a Deuce cup,
I got
Jungle.
some shit with your ass good.
But you know, I do Uncle Nas, you know what I mean? I thought it was dope lyricist,
Sorry about this album.
but
Lost tapes too.
well, I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I'm an Illmatic, it was written dude. So, let's get out through those two.
Stillmatic was gangsta.
Nah, Stillmatic was reaching a little bit. You know
Stillmatic was fire.
Nostradamus, he was
With
reaching.
Rewind and all that on there.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
I mean, no, certain
Yeah, but I don't
tracks
got
on the
nobody
albums,
out
though,
that could
but
outdo
like,
Rewind right now.
complete
Nobody.
albums, Illmatic, it was written for me, was complete album.
Got you.
Who's
You know
your
what I'm
favorite
saying?
artist?
Gucci
Don't-
Man. I'm a Gucci fan
She really is.
to the heart.
Gucci.
She
The
played
so
Lemonade,
icy.
you know that?
So icy. When I was 15,
Which,
yeah.
oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Which Gucci? The chubby Gucci?
Yeah, that's
The
like
chubby Gucci. Oh,
Trap house Gucci.
yeah,
Oh, you like
Cleveland
the trap?
Gucci.
Oh, you like
Yeah,
Cleveland?
my ears are
Two
ratchet.
bodies?
Yeah, I
The
love
two
it.
bodies Gucci?
I love it. I
No, the St. Jerry
remember.
Gucci.
Ooh,
I love all of it.
Gucci.
The new Gucci, it's growing on me. I just want to see him do it one more time
The
and
Bart
just
Gucci.
show us the
I never
old.
heard of him having fake Gucci.
But I ain't know how that era was like was kind of.
Nah, because I was in the A doing the fat.
Why you hating?
No, I'm
but
not.
it's
No. I'm just saying in the just in.
We didn't have to know it was fake.
Just in the neighborhood, like everybody had the Fruity Pebble big chains,
Oh, I
the
see.
Yeah,
Mark Simpson
okay.
Batman chain.
Yeah.
It was
Pharrell was on some shit too.
Yeah, he had that other shit, that multicolored
Yeah,
shit.
the
ice
Gucci
cream.
lace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that shit,
That
was
was
hard.
good.
I mean, I was around Gucci when he was a chubby, so.
I like that Gucci. He
And
had
when
some good
Flocka
stuff.
had little twists. Flocka had little twists. We used to hang at 255 in Atlanta. He was street.
What happened to OJ the Juice
I
Man?
don't know what happened to him. I
That was
think
my boy.
Somebody told me he just wanted to go.
Hey.
Yeah, I just heard he wanted to go back to the
still down
streets.
there?
He just was like, I understand he couldn't just
She
shake
got
that.
artists and all that.
He said whole brick, half a brick, quarter brick. Hey. He said all the bricks. Corner. He said all the bricks.
I mean,
menu.
He gave you the
take
menu.
something. Down there, that's them niggas really get to it, like in their own way, like in their own support. Even in that shit, they support you. Like if that nigga fuck with you and he getting it, yo, here's this. Give me that back, but it's never a search. If they fuck with you, they fuck with you. You know what I'm saying?
How you feel about the rap game today?
That's such a big question. Like specifically.
Far as like New York artists and South artists. Since you're working with a New York artist, what's the difference between New York music on the radio and Southern music on the radio? What's the sound that these people are looking for to get New York back on the charts?
I think everybody's searching for something original. And so, like, did you guys watch Nas's show on Drink Champs the other night?
Nah, I ain't watching yet.
I
I'm
watched a
watching
little
tonight.
bit. I got
I'm
up to
watching tonight.
when he asked about Prince.
Yeah.
I got up to that.
Well, in a segment that he said that was really important, so he's building like a hip hop museum in the Bronx, and
Nas?
yeah, so that's something that he's actively
Major.
working on. And what he was saying in the Drink Champ show was that like a lot of people in music, they don't know where the music comes from. You're just going off of something, and then that was pretty much like, you know, there's nothing, you don't know what the origin of something is. You're a copy of a copy of a copy.
Right.
And so like it's good to get back to the roots of something. And,
Yeah,
like, to really
Respectfully,
understand where it comes from.
respectfully though, right? With creativity, you always gotta have the direct opposite of that to be able to manage the creativity. So the people that came into the business to make it a business, they can't know what the creators are talking about. They have to know how to sell it. Because if they were from that also, they would be exactly where the artists are. And I hope that statement is clear.
No,
like,
definitely.
so they have to be married. Like, unfortunately, you know, it's not people necessarily from the culture or the race, but that's just the way it is. Like, that's it. You gotta have, and then until we learn how to manage and deal with it and not just pick something up and drop it because it's difficult, then we can begin to take it over again.
Right.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
doubt.
So that a lot of artists always say things, and I think I said this on our interview also, like, there's a huge disconnect. Like, artists, when they want to be signed to a label, they're just thinking about who they got to take care of at home. They're not really thinking about what they're about to get into and who they're about to get into it with.
Right.
And the obligation of you having a contract and having to fulfill that contract.
Right.
So the selfishness of it all, like, people have to get past that and understand the reality of what they're getting into. So I understand both parts. I understand the label end and someone as a business person, and then I also understand the creative end and you doing all that you did up until this point, and you have this thing that may take you out of the hood, or may be able to feed your family, or may change your life. You know, you can live upstate or wherever you want. But like, you gotta also understand that that's somebody else's money.
Right.
You know, so they hustle differently than you did, but that's also somebody's money.
That's the concern.
And they also have a family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That they have to feed. So it's people working with people.
To piggyback what Richardine said, back to you. What's a good contract?
A good contract is whatever that artist deems is fair for them. What's fair for me is not fair for her. What's fair for her is not fair for her.
For him.
So it's just like, that's why people tell you when you go to a job, like, you know, don't disclose personal information like that. Because sometimes you might get someone's feelings hurt. It doesn't have anything to do with you deserve pay. You deserve the pay for this job. And maybe Richardine has put in a little more time or a little more work or has added something to the growth of her pay. So you can't just be like, okay, we both work here and you work side by side and you just feel like, okay, I deserve what I'm doing more or she's doing more. I don't know what you're doing. So I can't go in a room and say, hey, we all deserve a raise. He probably don't even show up to work.
Right.
So I can't go in and say what's best for that person. The only thing you can do is sit down with someone and say, hey, tell me what your needs are and I can see how I can get them met. That's all I can do.
So when you negotiating a deal, like for example, let's say Lambo, since he's the only rapper here, besides Deuce said he want to come out with a single.
Yeah, I'm coming out with a single.
She said,
You can market anything.
I feel like that Deuce shit
No,
at
we
all.
got to change the name right
Like,
away.
and feel free to chime in on this. Yeah, of course.
Chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
black people shit.
yeah.
Everything a fucking
Listen,
word.
right?
We just
Chime
read
in,
a line,
baby,
read a sign
chime
shit.
in.
For example, what you just said, like you get what you know, the work that you put in. Let's say, for example, LAMBOSHOW, he got about, how many singles you got? How many mixtapes that you came up with?
Career-wise, overall, maybe 7, 8.
Do that whole weight on going to a label and saying he got 7 projects and how many videos you got?
20.
About 20. Do that whole weight on getting money, on getting a deal?
Let me ask you a question. Richardine, you have a business. You manage artists. Okay. So if he came to you with that same information, we got 9 albums.
Yeah, 7
Seven
albums, about
and
20
what else?
videos.
And 20 videos. What does that mean to your business?
Me personally, I would be offended that I didn't know who he was. And then right away that rings in my head that there's a problem. What is the problem? Like, because there's no way that you should have all of that material and I've never seen it, heard it. Like, so then my next question would be, where are you from regionally? Like, I would have to understand all that stuff to make it make sense before I make a decision to even see you again.
Wow.
Yes, so it's all of
That
that.
shit is so real.
It's amazing.
Let me tell you something. Before getting dressed today, I'm on Saturday. My man Doug, he's like, yo, I'm coming out right now. Like, he want me to come. I'm like, yo, the same shit you said. I said, yo,
Nobody knows it.
what music, what material you got? He was like, yo, I'm working on it. I said, well, then come back to me when you got material. I said, now, one of the homies was sitting there. I was like, now, if he asked me, yo, I got this deal, whatever. I got this little label. I need somebody. And I'm like, yo, I got my man Doug. The first thing that's gonna come out of his mind, yo, let me hear something.
Right.
You ain't got nothing. Like, who is it? So you said it, you broke it down in simplest terms
Right.
of what it is, because those things you need, like you need, you need to be seen and heard.
Now, how do you get seen and heard?
This new social
there's
media?
so many, no.
Because social media is not
is
going to do
an
it.
answer, but it's not enough.
Right.
Because there's so many artists on social media that have millions of followers, right? And some of us have never heard of them. So it's literally them getting to the right people, whom of which we all know. When you really sit and think about it, it's like, yo, it's really a few people that really work the industry and control it, right? And if for whatever reason, if somebody is not saying, yo, like check out Lambo, what you're doing is good, because when it does catch on fire, people can go back and listen to everything that you have and be like, how the fuck did I not know about this guy? So that's great, but then you have to now, it's like a video game. You gotta get to the big boss. Like, but if you don't even know which way to turn left or right, it's difficult. So I could understand also why he could be right here, and then it could be somebody from like Salt Lake City, and can't get it, but like he'll figure it out. Maybe he connect with somebody at Spotify who's knows this person and knows that person, and then they'll just speak their name, and that's how it catches fire.
It's going to lead to my question for y'all, because being that ladies that manage artists from New York, is it harder pushing New York artists in the industry to like break through? Is it harder to break out New York-based artists in the industry right now?
You want to answer first?
You go first.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. The things that we have been doing within the last week at those events, that's what's gonna do it. Because if we don't have a microcosm or a place where people can actually see you and know that you exist, you don't exist. Like, you gotta think about the executives. Like, they go to work, if they go to the office, they do their job, they're in their life, like their own world. They're not going to come here looking for nobody. Like, the mentality is, if I'm supposed to know about you, I'll know. And if you are that hot, I will hear about you so many times. I gotta go investigate. That's it. Like, they don't. It comes to them. It doesn't. It's not the other way around.
That is so true, because like that brings it back to the era. They have release parties, album release parties. It's just a meet and greet, and you know, tell them who you were going to bump into, and be like, hey, you know, I'm so and so from so and so. Now that's an introduction that you wouldn't have got just sitting here on Instagram. But, you know, that introduction will go so far. You can have your own relationships with people without, you know, like the middleman. You can have you can be direct with that person, and that's how you survive in the game. Fucking relationships, great relationships.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta make relationships everywhere you go. If there's somebody that you see, or if you even remember a face, that face you can walk to that person, man. I think I know you from somewhere. He or she gonna tell you where they from, what they do, how they did. You know what I mean? And you build from there. Exchange numbers. Don't be afraid to text, call.
You gotta have etiquette.
Yeah, you gotta know how to talk.
You have to, because it'll be, oh my gosh, I've been around artists who are like just not there socially. And they'll be
Well, that's
at
why
a
you
party.
have managers. I mean,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Well, here's my thing with that. When you have an artist, that person is who they are, and that's why you love them. You can't bring somebody like Cardi B, for example. You knew who she was and what she stood for. She never changed up. She's in the game. She still hasn't changed up. She is who she is in that case. So you can't expect Cardi B to put on a suit and go represent herself on Wall Street. Like, that's just not who she is. And the minute that she tries to do something other than who she is, we judge them for it. You know, you say, oh, look at Cardi B, she's trying to represent herself in court. Like, it's hell if you do, hell if you don't. So be yourself, ride that way. And to go back to the music part, I think that the best thing for any artist right now is to grow your following, grow your fan base, because you have to make waves. You can't, it's not like old school days where, I mean, knowing somebody, having access and resources is top notch, but when that doesn't, you can't always rely on that. You you have to rely on the people around you to support you. I got to convince you to believe in me. And if I can convince you and 500,000 of, I don't know how many followers you have, but like, if I can convince you to believe in me, and I can get more people and grow my following, that is what's going to get people's attention. They're not looking for you in that aspect. They're not like on the streets handpicking. They're not in the nightclubs. They're not at the listening parties. The listening parties are for employees. And, you might get someone of importance to drop through, or a client or something like that. But you have to make your own way. And if you can get enough people to believe in you, you create that buzz.
Right.
And once you create that buzz, that's when people notice you. And it's like, hey, I gotta hear that guy. It's not about, hey, I got 9 albums and I'm dropping next week and I want them to do. You have to create your waves, and that is what gets people's attention. And then once you have their attention, put on the show.
Right.
It's your platform.
Also, don't acknowledge the hate when you make your own way, because people don't like when you make your own way.
Hood shit.
Absolutely.
So you don't acknowledge the hate, embrace it. Like keep doing what you're doing. Like, keep moving forward.
That's right. Woo!
And if you're talking to somebody who deals with artists, or they're always getting things shoved in their face, it's like, okay, yeah, you coming out with an album, who the fuck is it? Like, you know how many albums I just got? Like,
Right.
why?
You
like,
listen to how many submissions?
listen.
So it's getting real out here with this music.
Right.
Yeah.
So even Tiff, because you gotta entertain.
I'm about to get on to.
You gotta entertain.
She want to be a manager.
So
Let her know about that
based
managing.
on what you've heard from a little bit of everyone, how would you push your entertainment? Because your name is the true entertainment, though.
First, tell people what you do.
I'm new. I'm very new
Yes.
to this
Welcome.
industry. Thank you. But I love it. I want it so badly. My artists, I have a group and I have a solo artist. So my solo artist is the first one I managed, and she's like new to the industry too. But her following is growing every day. She has a great following. She sounds really good. Me and her, we always talk about where we go from here. All right, I got a following. We got music out. We always talk about visual stuff. People want to see you. They want, absolutely. They hear you, but they want to see you. And for females, I think it's a little tougher than males. Physically, you gotta look away. Even though Lizzo, I love Lizzo. She's lucky.
Yeah.
She's very lucky. And for artists, especially rap artists, it's hard. It's hard, but we're gonna fight through it. I'm so happy my people brought me into contact with you guys. I reached out to her. I want her to mentor me, and I want to do this. He's been here from the start. He did my artist first mixtape, so it was our first project. We killed it. It was dope. I don't think we got to put a lot into it like we wanted to, as far as like visually and promoting it. I think for me and for her, we just didn't know what to do at that point. Now I got to move on and decide what to do with her and how much to go. I'm ready for the ride. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Basically, she's a new manager. You manage Shooter. Like, give her some tips on how to manage an artist.
Okay, so for clarity, I don't technically manage.
Oh, you don't manage.
So I don't want to say
All
like.
right, on air.
So I just think that like it's just understanding it. It's like managing anything else. Just understanding the needs of the client.
Driver, you know you're not supposed to get in the corner.
Employee relationship.
You're supposed to be in front of the
Managing an artist.
Rick, I need you.
Damn, you got me. Well, go ahead.
This is the round table, man.
It's like managing anything else. You just have to manage that person's finances. Like you have to cue in with them and say, okay, like taking care of your time.
Then you should have checked your good night.
How do you run your house?
Yeah.
That is very important.
Listen, I got a
The
question
mental
here with that
health.
shit on there.
That
I'm not
is-
playing with
How was your mental
That's
health?
very important. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, social
Like,
work.
that's just-
So-
that's
People be
real.
stressed
Very
out
important.
dealing with things that happened years ago.
That's right.
But managing, do it come with a lot of money? Do you need like a lot of money to manage?
It depends on the negotiated relationship between you and the client. If that's something like, hey, if I bring this to the table, do you negotiate a percentage of whatever deals come to the table? It's whatever you guys negotiate. You gotta get out of the mind frame of thinking this is X marks the spot, and this is where it caps, and this is where it starts, and it's not orchestrated that way. I mean,
Everything's case by case.
everything is case by. It's a unique relationship between two people.
But that's not, you know what? Like, I always say to people, like, when you go to the store and you buy something, you're buying the final product. People don't know what goes into it.
Right.
So,
Wow.
like, when you see, if it wasn't for Instagram or anything, you wouldn't know who these
The
people
hustle.
are. You just see the music video and you're
Listen.
judging based
You
on
wouldn't
that.
know.
So,
We're just now getting to, not to cut you off, a phase where we're learning. How many A&R releases have we seen over the past couple of weeks?
wow.
I'm for the first time starting to see like all of these like the Nine Nation folks and
Yeah.
like these people that are executive, the behind the scenes people. When have we ever really gotten to know anybody other than the Russell Simmons and like Kevin Lyles and Biggsburg? Like you don't really know too much about other people that are pioneering behind this machine, and so now they're getting their fair trial. But people come from humble beginnings. You start somewhere. And eventually that person that manages you, you get opportunities, you build you produce content, you build your brand, you put it out there, you talk to people, you get to know people, you get to know your fan base and what they're asking for.
And as a
Wow.
manager, you're as good as your network.
Wow.
So that depends on what you have in your network. That's how much money you're going to make.
I also believe a lot of artists put too much pressure on their managers. Like a manager to an artist is only one member of your team. You
Right.
also need a PR, a booking agent, you know what I mean? These is a road
It's the
manager.
machine.
Yeah.
There's
Machine.
a machine. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
a team.
So there's a whole team effort, and then it's like if a manager's gonna put in all the money to get 20%, it don't add up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like,
You have to feed these
I'm
people.
shoveling hundreds of thousands of dollars to you get $1 million deal. I'm getting what $200,000, and I just put the house on you. Like, that
Like
don't
look
make
at it this
add up.
way, you made 50 bands last night, and we your team. You got to split that with us. At
Yeah,
the end
of
of the
course.
day,
Right.
it's not 50 bands.
Yeah, of course.
It just go, it's sad because there's so much money. But the good thing about the music industry, it seems that there are more applications, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's some application I just was reading the other day that allows artists to distribute their own music independently, like through an app.
United Masters.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I
And
see,
so-
I see that a lot.
Keep, so like,
Dame shit?
No, that's Steve Stout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Steve.
yeah, that's right. You just have that, right? Well, that just gives people, the artists more avenues to have control. Nowadays, you hear more about artists like Chris Brown and well, I think Nas most recently said that like they had the masters to their music. Before, like that was taboo.
Jay-Z too.
Artists didn't have control. Like look at the TLCs and the Tony Braxtons and people that came up in the 90s that didn't have control. In Vogue, Bobby Brown, like people didn't have control of their assets. Stuff that they created, you don't even have control over it. And you signed that right way because guess what? You didn't get a lawyer to negotiate your contract.
All you see was 100,000.
But even with like these avenues of being able to put your music up for streaming, it all means nothing without promotion. Like
Absolutely.
people going, you can't buy something you don't know exists. Like,
Right.
You have to put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Big companies spend millions on
Millions
marketing
on
and promotion.
advertising,
You think
yeah.
you're not gonna have to pay money on
Yeah,
marketing and
that's
promotion?
true.
But you know, to the average person, they feel like it disappeared.
Yeah.
They're not.
Like I'm gonna put a song on SoundCloud, it's gonna get 1 million plays. I'm gonna make $1 million.
I can keep regramming it, reposting
Yeah,
it.
it don't work like that. That's why.
If I keep reposting this every day, same
But you
shit
know
every
that
time.
there's like
It's
new
just-
people that are willing to give up their masters just to be signed to the label.
Yeah.
Wow.
So while you're saying that people
Yeah.
have their masters, like they're just willing to, they want to take that bet.
Because they want that machine.
They want the
Like
machine.
I always said, like I just felt like the internet is used to build your brand value. So when you do are presented an opportunity, you can negotiate better. That's something like
right? And social media is giving you a way to go to these places and negotiate the way you want, because they're giving you a way to pay for your
Promotion.
Yeah, you can boost your plays and
however, just so now when you go to them labels, you can present like, listen, this is what's going on in these 6 months. You know what I mean? And they can, they can go for that. And now you can come to the table with your numbers versus them coming to the table with theirs. And then y'all can meet in a way that everybody can be happy.
Do social media numbers like really
Yes.
hold weight in these
Yeah, it's like your
labels?
credit score.
Yes. Let me tell you something.
How many? I need
Lenny
to know
has
how
told
many
me that.
followers. That's the background of it. That gets into data analytics and measurements and posts and
Lenny has
paper
told me that
posts. Like
shit
it
in
gets
Atlanta
into
like
that.
3 years ago.
That's the background of it. Like
Tell
that's
me
the type
about
of
it
stuff
first.
that these A&Rs are doing on the back that you don't see. While you're over here watching like the show, on the back end, it's these A&Rs that are on the back doing the math on it. How can we market this person to succeed? Like what avenues can I market? You might be a great artist, right? You're the next best thing, the next best part of me or whatever. The importance, if I put you in the room that are not your peers, that are not like-minded of you, they're not going to know you because they don't understand you. That's what I said earlier. If you can get enough people to buy into what you're selling, you're capable of doing it. You can market anything. You just have to know your audience.
That's dope.
I'm learning.
Yeah, they
I'm
gotta
learning.
unlearn to learn. 'Cause
It's
not,
hard to digest. It almost feel like it's like a invisible ceiling.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going there,
Everything
hit the
that
head.
you
Bing!
thought
Oh shit!
about the music industry is not what you think. Not at all.
Numbers don't
It's
lie.
crazy.
That man said it. Them lie women on numbers don't. But even back then, I remember Drive Core Request Future said the industry is shady.
The industry is shady. Yeah.
It takes a village to make a start. Like they say, raise a child. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a group of people pushing this energy to create this star.
Yeah,
like
create it.
everybody's
Be
going
like
for
an illusion.
I mean, I
Somebody
can
does that.
see
Everybody
that.
wear the
That's-
same shirts
People are
and-
naturally attracted to that. Like,
Like, what's that?
Yeah,
Just
everybody right there got the same shirt on. Like,
Look-
who is this?
look at the real shit. We do simple. Simple fact. Like, if a nigga got a good shirt, you have to get that shirt.
Right, that's right.
You don't get that. You better have. That's this fire. I need to get that. You know what I'm saying? It could be a fucking tattoo. You want to go to that artist. You know what I mean? Based off seeing it, that shit fire. Where you get that from? Well, what I got it from? Let me get this info. Just that quick. You know what I mean?
but you saw it though.
But I saw it. You know
That's
what I mean?
that's the important thing.
That's what back in the days they had. You know, and people always say that they had jackets, shirts, hats. Like when it was visible on people that
When they
wasn't
came
even
in.
there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can walk around with a Nas shirt or a firm shirt, or you can it's in Chicago.
Right.
Now you got a group of people in Chicago that want to know what the firm is. They got Nas' name, they got food. All
They
right.
knew who the firm was.
You know what I'm saying?
They thought you
I'm
was
just
part
saying.
of it. Like, you part of the firm?
Right, but they still, most
Nas?
people, some people, it don't reach still, but it takes one person from that area to put it on, and then it reaches there. And everybody want it. I mean, shit. I see it like 15.
Shout out to Mary playing in the background. No, that's your
Taking us on home,
Yeah, she
ain't
got it. I'm feeling depressed right now. I'm like, shit, I'm going to tear my heart. Shit.
Share with the queen.
Mary got me depressed. We talking about instant shit, like all the stuff. Shit,
Sit on
man.
his numbers.
So is it the same way with like trying to push a podcast? We need numbers.
Ooh, I don't know about podcasts that much. I just know you shoot them and you just play them. You feel like you. I guess you could do like a
Same
YouTube
thing.
channel or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. But I mean, it's no different than managing anything else.
It's damn
You just have to
numbers.
find resources. That's it.
It's
It's
numbers, bro.
there.
Like from
Right.
past experience with my man.
Resources. Use these applications. Talk to people. Do these
Thank you.
pop-ups. Do
Say that again, please. Use what?
applications.
Yeah, use these things. Okay, I just want you to say that because I said that a year ago.
Oh.
You know, it didn't.
They
But he
didn't
ain't
believe
use
you.
it. But he ain't use
The
it.
numbers going to increase
I
with
did
the,
use
with
it.
the
He ain't
guests.
use it.
With the
It
guests.
works. You know, you
I
just
did
have to
use
find
it.
what works.
You know,
The bigger the
marketing.
celebrity,
using it.
the bigger the number.
Keep using it. Keep using it.
Like I saw on Rich's email, you emailed me something the other day, and at the bottom of her email it said I am, and it was like all like she did like a I am like writer of the Super Bowl or something, like all these different things that she did, and like she hyperlinked them so you can click it and go in to see. That is utilizing
RICHARDINE is
resources.
a beast on that
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. There are reasons. Who knew that
That's my
some
best
shit
friend.
like, and who knew somebody like I would scroll down the bottom and even look at it.
Wow.
Most people see get to the end of the email and it said kindness regards, you know, how's the weekend, whatever shit you're gonna say, and then they move on. But like I scroll to the bottom, I'm like, damn, her portfolio is in her email every fucking time she emails someone. Every
My
time.
lawyer wanted to be my lawyer after he read my email signature. He was like, how the fuck do I not know about you?
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know. Now you do.
Wow.
That's my best friend.
See, like, you get the best friend credits in early. I know that's right.
Yo, let me tell you something. And let me tell you real shit.
See, you on fire right now.
And it's subtle though.
Yeah.
Yo, T, let me tell you real shit. I said it. She's never said it. You know what I mean? Like, I told her that. Like, you are my best friend.
Today, what's today's date?
See what that shit out
July
now.
26th. Stamping it.
You know what I mean?
Best friend
As soon
day.
as I met her and talked to her, we had to come. I was like, yo, you my best friend. That's it. She didn't say no or yes, but she just dealt with my best friend.
And then here we are. Same
Now you know
way.
all my business. All of it.
Yeah.
RICHARDINE is real. Real as they come.
And she's great. She's such a special person that you can't help but love.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Like she'll break it down to your simplest terms. You might not like it, but
Now, you ain't
I
either
love
you
it.
like it or
I
you
love
not.
it. It's very
it's
direct.
straight.
It's
It's direct.
clear cut.
It's clear cut. It's no
It hurt.
sugarcoat.
Ain't no
It
bull-
hurt.
It doesn't hurt. There's no listen. There's no emotion.
She's never disrespectful. She's telling you from the beginning to the end without cutting this middle part out.
Yeah.
Everything is in it. So by the time you get to the end, you know exactly what she's
What if we
saying.
gotta get to the
And
end?
you learn something.
Right.
Definitely do.
I
I'm
learned
trying to
something.
save y'all from going through the stuff I go
Nah,
through.
that's
Right. She's our female hoe. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling
Crazy.
That
you.
Harriet Tubman of the game.
Word.
That's a
Hey,
super
little-
fact.
Say that.
I saw a trailer. They have a Harriet Tubman movie coming out. Y'all gonna go see it?
Of course. I seen the Django and Nat Turner.
Janelle Monáe is in it with her beautiful self.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, it was cool. I thought you need to see her
I
story.
don't want to go see that. Why not? Because some of the stories they have.
Oh, they gonna slander your comment below. He said they don't want to see Harriet
It's
Tubman.
not about that, because some of the stories that when you read,
It's gonna be
like I had a
watered down.
grandmother that read a lot, so I read a few books with Harriet Tubman about some of the stories and things that she went through. But then when they teach you in school, it's definitely not what I read. Maybe like one or two things. So what version are we gonna get?
I
Real
think I would
version?
go with
Hopefully
your
we get the real
Depends on who's
version.
directing.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
It depends on who directs.
So now if I see that preview and I remember what I read. Now if I see it, I'm like, I'll fuck with it. But if it's nothing, I'm not fucking with it.
Well,
Well, the trailer was
everybody get a ticket but Duce.
That's cool.
Nah,
He
you
said I
coming,
ain't
bro.
going no matinee,
You coming.
nothing.
Nah, I'm just saying, like, certain things, when you got grandparents, certain grandparents, and they readers, and they be like, yo, read that. And you're like, I don't want to read that. Then when you read it, you be like, oh, yeah. And now they coming out with a movie. What took so long?
You know what took so
You know
long.
what I mean? What?
I mean, they reneged on her $20 bill.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, Trump.
That was crazy.
I would love to have a $20 bill.
Harriet.
What? A woman.
they will never get them back. It would be as short as a 20.
Nobody is not. They be like, yo, you go to the check cashing place, I want all 20s. I want no money, all 20s.
Right.
Or Tubman.
Word. Throwing Tubmans.
What's up with the
To the
tubs?
club. Like this, throwing Tubmans to
When
the
it came
club.
out, the big faces, all the rappers had fucking video.
I remember the money turned blue. When the money turned blue, it was over.
Everybody has
That's when Clyde said colored money.
Yeah.
Remember that?
The blue
Monopoly
bill.
money. It's like Monopoly
It
money.
looks
They
like
fiending to get a honey. Oh, you got a blue bill?
It looks like European.
Now I can't tell you the last. Oh, at the casino. I don't even touch money.
Yo, one of my homies right now, like if we see a blue, he be like, let me change that for you, just so he can have a blue
Blue
$100
bill. Chris.
Zito.
Wow. Zito.
Zito do that shit all the time.
Shout out to
I
Zito.
like swiping cards.
Yeah, y'all just
I
said
don't know,
that.
but like, if somebody gives you $100 bill, that's a different feeling. If it's $100 bill, like you can swipe.
Now, once you break it, it's
But
over.
like when you get it, that's when you're like, I got $100. It's just a
It feel
feeling
good.
for a
Yeah, it
second.
just feel good.
Then you think of the bill and all the shit you gotta do with it.
Because if it's a blackout or something, you ain't taking no calls.
My mom always
They
said,
take no
keep
calls in
some
the
cash.
blackout.
Oh my
I
gosh.
never have cash.
But I lose it.
I'm supposed to
lose
keep
cash.
cash. I
I'm
don't.
good.
Y'all women are good with that credit card stuff. Y'all swipe it
Quick fast.
It's
real
fun.
fast. Y'all good with that shit. I'm shoebox money. I don't know what I'm. I gotta have the cash on me.
I don't know. I can't do that.
You spend.
Stealing.
Nah, they be stealing with the scammers. The scammers. They getting busy with the
They
scammers.
gotta
They
get your money
reverse
back.
you. Right.
Exactly. So
Right.
it's like, scam who you want, nigga.
Right. If you lose this money out the shoebox, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
What you gonna do?
It's over.
You ever have cash and a credit card at the same time and it confuses you? Like when you don't know which one to spend, it's like it's both the same. It's like cash or credit, you like,
I swipe my card.
Yeah.
but then you end up spending the cash on something stupid.
I tend to give the cash away.
Yeah, that's what used to be on the
I
train.
lose
Like, oh,
it.
here I got $1.
I lose
When I have cash, I give it all away on the train.
Shout out to the dancers I seen in the train that was aggressive today.
Yo,
They was aggressive. Yo, this dude was banging on the door. I'm like, he messed up a hat. He was like, I was like, he didn't get no tip today. He was mad. I was like, they crazy. Shout out to them.
Look, somebody just text me, don't forget to invite me to your next event. Damn, dog.
I've been getting a lot of that
Damn,
too.
homie.
That's why we follow each other, right? Like, just when I
got
post
you,
a
homie.
flyer, then you be here, I guess. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he really did. Like, he just popped up. I'm looking for the Beijing beauty.
Beijing beauty.
Beijing beauty tech.
next time.
Basically. Yo, those people rolling up. I'm like, why am I at the door? This is crazy. But it was cool.
About the feed situation?
Yeah.
That was dope.
That's 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2. I said that.
Number 3 is about to be wild. Just be there, please. That's it.
Number
That's
2
all I
is
gotta
gonna be
say.
crazy. What you doing after this? No, not like that.
Oh my God, you missed your boy, you missed it. He was rocking and everything.
Yes, he like,
Check me out, he's like, what you doing after this?
Y'all embarrassing me on camera.
You did it. How was it us?
Oh,
What you doing after this? He like, what you doing after this?
that's good.
I
I'm
told you.
done. Shut the camera off.
No, that's good entertainment. That's great.
What you doing after
I'm
this? Uptown?
Oh,
It's cool. Yo, I'm done.
I hear
I'm
you.
done with the hosting.
It's you though.
Yo, you heard that song?
I figured it out.
what you doing after this? Ooh, ass a dude.
Shout out to Kelly Rowland.
Ooh.
Nah, you remind me of Kelly Rowland, like the model type. You look good, nice skin. You know what I'm saying? He said work it. Something out there, man. Bring his arm over here, bro.
I know it is. I know the mother's over there.
It's not.
This guy, man. Now, thank you for stopping by.
I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you coming to. You know?
You saw you got it. I was waiting for your fingers come up.
Yo, man.
Right.
So one more time.
Here come, here
Just so
come.
you know, do say. You hear me?
Do say show.
Do say show 718. Follow all of us.
Tiara.
You hear me?
Richardine. LAMBOSHOW. You already know his name. Do say.
Miss TR, MZTR.
MZTR. That means Miss Tiffany Rice with a motherfucker.
Oh my
The dollar.
goodness.
Whoa!
Miss Tiffany Rice. They know you anyway. I'm gonna tag you with this shit.
TR, you in the team.
Yeah. Alright, man. Follow everybody, man.
Oh,
Oh,
say-
wait, hold on. No
Shop my
disrespect.
Loyal Brothers Apparel.
That's a fact, too.
Loyal Brothers Apparel. And
MLB.
Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Oh, let's talk about the people that's not subscribing.
Moving forward.
Subscribe to the
Why they do that? Why the people who don't
Subscribe now.
subscribe
Hit the bell.
Because that's an extra step.
to success?
No, that's just something else I have to do. I
Oh,
mean, me
people-
personally.
It's like the Domino's track.
I'm just being real. Like, that's just something
They don't want to sign in, put
Well,
the
it's like
email
I'm
in.
following you on Instagram. You want me to follow you on Twitter. You want me to follow you. You want me to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah.
Like, those are all avenues, obviously. But, like, it's like,
I just want to watch it. I don't want to subscribe.
But
not you per se. I'm just saying
No, I know
in
what you
general,
question.
in terms of, like, when people
Question.
ask you to follow.
Most people, well, not question, statement. Most people tend to not want to do those things, but will do it to a celebrity. Go through those channels. Follow Twitter,
Take that
follow
extra step.
Instagram, Facebook, and all that. Why is it for up and coming entity or whatever that is the next step?
Because you're too close. They feel like they know you, like you're on the
Right.
same level.
Yeah.
They don't see the vision. They don't see what you see.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you gonna
no,
move
it's
forward
not that
anyway.
they don't care. I mean, these are your followers, for example. You have an album coming out. You consider yourself to be an artist of music, obviously a rapper, urban music. You can't expect Taylor Swift's fans to follow you. That's not your fan
It's not
base.
logical.
So it's important for you to grow your own fan base. And then you have your own following that's gonna be like, oh, I don't fool. I'm like, this is my guy right here. This is who I roll with. That's what I'm saying. It's important to cultivate yourself, build your own brand, and then people come to you. And that way you don't have to worry about what somebody else has. Because what you guys just said to me just now, a celebrity, this person, I'm assuming you're talking about the bigger guys. But like, and that's cool. But those are those people's fan bases. They cultivated that problem. You follow, who's your favorite rapper?
Oh, Ho.
Ho. You follow Ho.
No, he doesn't have it.
I think what he's
But I'm
saying.
saying you follow his work. You're a part of his fan base, not necessarily following him on Instagram or anything. But that is cultivated. He has cultivated you as a part of his following.
I think what he's saying though is how come the people that I came up with won't subscribe and
Oh,
follow
because they're
me?
haters.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what we
Oh.
were waiting to hear.
You
They
heard that?
fucking haters.
No,
Capital
hell
H.
yeah.
But what are
Yeah.
they hating for?
Right.
There's nothing to hate.
Success.
It's not.
Your success is their
I don't
failure.
think that
That's how they look at
it's coming from a malicious place.
No.
I don't think it's like I hate you
No.
or
It is.
something up of mine. I can't stand you. I don't think it's anything like that. I think that it's just like, listen, they saw you as once being on their level. They saw you as a peer. You were in the very same classrooms.
Live in the same
Exactly.
building.
You probably got better grades, or you didn't get as good grades. You know, you grew up with these people. Like these are the people that you know. Like you're friends. When something happens to you before them, it's
Right.
natural for you to be like, damn, that should have been me. Damn, I wish that could have been me. It's
Damn.
how you handle it. It doesn't mean that I hate you. It's just like, damn, like I felt like that was something that I felt should have been mine or should have been my
Yeah, reflection.
opportunity. So I can't. So now what you do with that is on you.
Not
You can still
everybody.
choose to be like,
Just-
okay, like I still fuck with you
People
or I
don't have
don't.
that hate in their blood. They're just happy for you.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Right,
some
right.
people.
It's like, yo.
And some people just want to see you win.
Yeah, I'm happy you're doing
yeah,
this.
what
Yeah.
you eat don't make me shit. I'm good, bro.
Some people.
You know, some
But you
people.
might run into one out of like fucking 9.
Yeah, of course.
The 9 don't like you because you doing what you doing.
Your success is their failure. How they look
Wait,
at
wait,
it.
wait one person. Success took a shot at you. What are you gonna do now? Success. Took a shot at you. Like you gonna change it because it took a shot. You know what I mean? The people that they don't have that success, they took their shot because you're successful. Now what you gonna do? That's
And
Stay
then,
being successful.
you as a successful person, you gotta know like when to cut the limb off. Like if it's a flesh-eating disease, it's on your cut your fucking leg off and keep moving. Because like
Shit.
it's not,
Keep
you can't because the moment that you stop and try to figure that out, time is going and your competitor is.
But
getting you.
sometimes the flesh-eating disease be your own woman
Absolutely.
or somebody that you
Your own
like
thoughts.
love. It could be, you know what I
Be your
mean?
own thoughts.
Your own thoughts too. But like,
Okay, thank you.
for example, it'd be like I go out, things of that nature. You might have a girl that be like, oh, you go out too much, or I can't do this no more. But you're doing something positive to, you know, to change your life.
That's the security. That's the security.
Yeah, but sometimes you might have to cut that off.
Yep.
Do y'all go through things like that?
Ooh, let's go. I got shit for you all day. Oh yeah. Yo,
Like
too many stories. He knows
like
my
men
life.
don't like y'all doing what y'all doing.
Oh my god. Okay. So.
Before we leave,
Oh my god. Do you
Give
want
us
to go
one.
first? No. I got. She like no.
so you go through something like that? Oh, you would. Oh God, you would. Like that?
You meet guys.
You did stuff like that?
You meet guys. Let's say, for instance, I met a guy who was not in the industry because I thought for a long time I need to be with somebody outside of the industry. These niggas is crazy, but I'm just as crazy as them. So, like, I learned that later on. But you'll be with a guy that's not in the industry, and I find myself, like, I hide what I do sometimes.
Right.
Like, I've done that purposely. Like, I just don't talk about it. When they ask me what I do, oh, I'm a writer.
Right.
It's like I'm not lying, but I'm not telling you
Tell you
everything.
exactly what you
And
do.
then they see certain shit, and they like, hold up.
Who you?
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you. Then it turns into, I guess they talk to whoever else, like their friends, and
Here
it's
come
like,
the
oh,
favors.
she in the industry. Yo, it's nothing but dudes, and you sure that's your girl? Like, you know, all that shit. And it's like, okay, so then they come back with their shit, whatever conversations that they had, and they're like, oh, well, you always around dudes. Like, then they want to come with you. Then they want to be overbearing, and then it's like, this is a work relationship.
Right.
Because whether you're here or not, like, I still got to be in this
gotta do
industry.
this.
So it just becomes problems. Like, or you deal with dudes in the industry, and they just be wrong. I don't know.
It's something that you
I
gotta
think
accept.
people are scared of me. I don't have problems. People just, I'm tall, so people don't really like find me. I don't have issues.
Loving basketball. Volleyball.
I
Loves
haven't
volleyball.
had any real issues with people. Like I've always had.
Across the wrong people.
I've been coming across the good people evidently.
Yo, your gun is loaded. Shit.
I guess.
Your gun is
I
loaded.
don't know. I don't have beef with. I mean, like you deal with characters. Like you deal with people. You manage relationships.
What's your sign? You a Libra?
I'm a Capricorn.
Oh,
That's fine.
fire.
Is it indie?
Yo, it shows a hater,
I
man.
don't know, but then it's like when you meet somebody, you think they are something, and then it turns into something
No,
else.
yeah.
Like, how do you really? I don't have time to be
Yeah.
finding out. Yeah, like I don't have time for that shit. I don't have time for myself. So I'm gonna be sitting there like doctoring you.
So
trying to
basically
figure out
you-
if you for real or not.
You suggest industry people to deal with industry folks?
It works for me.
Yes, they work people.
They,
How about
it
you?
has to be a balance. Like the guy has to really understand what I'm doing. Maybe he has to have like some family in it. He has to
Right,
get
something.
it because it doesn't
Late
work
nights,
out.
early mornings, late nights.
Yeah.
I think it's about balance.
Shit, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought it was.
Fire.
And he told us.
Right.
Yo,
Turn them off. Put them on
All right, thank you for tuning.
I think gotta check out anyway. She gave us the best.
all right, nice. You know, this was a good special
Round
moving
table.
forward, round forward.
Round forward.